It has opened a whole can of worms. I think one of the points you're talking about there, Jim, and Genji has clearly been very vociferous around it. I think one of the things that Genji said was that he hadn't spoken to any RPA members on a personal note. Now, I don't know whether that's he must have spoken to RPA members because the Leicester players are RPA members. Every player is an RPA member. They sign up to it at the start of every season. But why haven't the Leicester? From what I hear, Leicester and Greg Bateman is the representative on the RPA committee for Leicester. So have they engaged with the RPA? And this is the questions that I'm just posing because from what I hear, the RPA, and I've seen a lot of the communication that the RPA have given to all the players around what's happening, and that started back in March. I've seen numerous emails around the changing face of it, the pictures, the legal stance, everything that Ellis Genge seemed to have complained about is actually misinformation for me because I've seen all the communication that the RPA have sent to the players. I've heard about the RPA engaging with every club, having Zoom calls with every club, but apparently Leicester players didn't want to have a Zoom call and take the advice of the RPA. So, like you said, it is a whole can of worms. There is a lot of misinformation out there. I understand Genji speaks from the heart. He says what he thinks. But unfortunately for me, what he's saying about this scenario, he's got quite a lot factually wrong for me in terms of what he's putting out to the press and saying that, they need someone to represent the boys. Every player has an agent, or most players have an agent that looks after their contract and their off-field commercial opportunities. Now, the RPA
and they're generally lawyers as well, aren't they? They're generally from a lawyer background or solicitor background.
Yeah, and if contract law, if an agent hasn't got a law background himself or herself, then they have counsels that they go to in terms of a legal firm that they use regularly. Now, agents have that ability. I don't understand. One of the comments I can't really understand from Ellis Genge, he feels that players were poorly advised and told to sign contracts without even reading them, almost. Now, that was his quote. So I'm sat there as a player. If you're a player, the only person that's going to be forcing you to sign something is a club. It's the RPA, and I've seen all the communication. They're not going to force you to sign anything. The RPA gave legal advice around what every player's position was. You can accept the 25% pay cut, you can reserve your position, or you can take legal action against them if they just automatically deduct you 25%. So there were the three options. Now, the RPA went through this with every club, with it, sent communication out to every player via email. So the information has been there. So I disagree with that. But as a player, you've got an agent and a union in the RPA. Why are you going to sign something? Jim, if someone puts a contract in front of you and says, sign this, Jim, and you don't choose to read it yourself, you've only got yourself to blame. So surely you would, the first thing you do, and I go back to my time as a player, if someone put a contract in front of me, the first thing I'm going to do is phone my agent and go, what's this about? Can you look through it? You've got a legal background. Can you go through it with a fine tooth comb and tell me what needs changing, or is it okay to sign about this certain subject? And I used the RPA when I was a player as well for, something that happened in my career when I left the club. So, I think there's a lot of misinformation being shouted around. I understand Genge's passion. And to me, it sounds, when he talks about, I don't think we've been represented that well commercially. I'll come on to the England stuff in a bit about the commercial deal that the RPA have got for the England players. As we've joked about on here, they're the highest paid players in the world in terms of match fees. So, I understand his passion. I understand what he is trying to portray, but I don't think he's portrayed it in the right way. And it has opened a huge can of worms for a lot of the amazing work that the RPA do.